This isn't just another cottage renovation. To me, this is my forever home. Something to take time over, something to be intentional about, something to lovingly restore into a cozy sanctuary. My desire is to breathe life into this place, this home, and this land as much as it breathes life into us. Come on in. Let me show you around. This 19th century farmhouse that has been sitting here uninhabited, unloved until now. We've been able to date it back to around the late 1880s. We can't get a precise date yet. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what our plans are for this space. But first, in case you're new around here and you don't know me, I'm Corrie, I'm a wife, mother, business owner. And only a few years ago, this dream life that I'm now living in the Irish countryside felt like just that, only a dream, a pipe dream to me. I was working a corporate job. My husband had 2 jobs. We were struggling to make ends meet. We had a new baby back then. And I dreamt of a life in the countryside. Fast forward a little bit, I found myself unemployed, started my own business, and that really took off. And then I got a little bit caught up in what society tells us success is. And it took me some time to come back to my own version of success and what does the dream life look like for me? Not the McMansions, not the fancy cars, not the designer clothes. What do I want? And I reconnected with that dream of living a simpler life in the countryside. And so I made a decision about a year and a half ago to stop dreaming and start living it already. And so we just got back from 6 months traveling around Europe full time as a family, and now we are here in the Irish countryside. And I share this just so you know a little bit about me, but also because the point of this channel is not just to talk about my dream life, but to inspire you to think about what is your idea of success? What is your dream life? It should be nuanced, it should be varied. We aren't all the same and we don't all want the same things, and yet we have this one idea of success and a dream life kind of shoved upon us, don't we? So anyway, let's get on with the tour. Can you hear that? It's just started chucking it down. It was super sunny just like 10 seconds ago. The west coast of Ireland. I like the changeable weather. Lucky I am a pluviophile. Okay, so we just stepped in via the front door here, and this will be one of the main living spaces that we come into. So let me just pop you over here and you can have a little look around. So behind me here we've got the staircase and window, and then over here there's these little nooks. I don't know if you can see here and here. I think behind here is a old large fireplace. So there is a fireplace on the other side, which I'll show you in just a second. But I took a book out from the library on traditional Irish farmhouses because I wanted to learn more about this space. And apparently these kind of little cubby holes are very typical next to what would have been the main living space and the main fireplace. So that's quite interesting. We're excited to kind of see what's behind there and see if we can perhaps open it up and have that in this space. So the ceilings are quite low. I'm quite short, so I don't know if that comes across really well. And it's all wood panelled. I don't mind the wood panelling, but I think we will probably have to redo it, and we haven't decided what we're going to put in there, and we'll probably lighten it just to kind of like lift the space. Now this is the main living area, but you can get a feel already for this space has not been lived in for, it's not super derelict, it is watertight, but it hasn't been inhabited for I think 4 or 5 years, and then prior to that I think it was just a short-term rental off and on, so it hasn't been a family home for a really long time. So I think it's really lovely that we're going to take this and make it into proper family home, proper farmhouse, and we're quite keen to sort of restore a lot of the traditional vernacular aesthetically here. So behind me, so there's the staircase there, and then behind me you can see the rest of this living space. That isn't, I don't think, an original fireplace. Let me know what you think. It looks more like it's been added in to kind of look old. You can see the floors in here are concrete. The previous owners had started, they were developers, and they had, I think, and they had started doing some work here, and then downed tools and abandoned the project and the house. So they'd put in underfloor heating, or started to, and then put concrete on top of it, but it's just been sat there and it hasn't been finished. So so that's something we'll have to do. Over here we've got this, it kind of opens up into this really nice big space. I'll take you in and we can have a little look. And so we've got our view out there of the lake and our land, and it's just so lovely. Let me just switch you around to show you. It's kind of like a big vault, sort of peaked ceiling here, and a bit of a, it's kind of a strange conservatory. There's the caravan that we're living in out there. There's a bit of an unusual space, and I think this is clearly a more modern add-on, and this wouldn't have been part of the general aesthetic. So I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna do with this space. It's nice because it's nice to have it off of the main living space and to take in all of the view. But from this side of the house, it just kind of looks a little bit bolted on. So we haven't fully decided on that. So come back through here. We came in through this door. And then if I take you through here, there's weirdly a slope up, but I have a theory as to why that is. We'll see if you agree. But if you come through up here, it's very dark in here. There's no lighting in here at all. So this space I'm really excited about because this we think will be our bedroom, and it's got some really kind of quirky features. You can see behind me here this kind of peaked window, and it's got a double height ceiling up into the sort of joists and the rafters, I guess. And I'm really excited to sand that wood back and expose it. I think it will be really cozy in here. So this is the other side of where I was showing you. I think that there's a fireplace because there's actually an opening down here, and so we've got this beautiful stone wall that I think is just absolutely lovely. I really love those kinds of old architectural features that way. Not that it would have been put in there as an architectural feature, but it is an architectural feature, you know what I mean. And I like that none of the walls are straight, and you know, that kind of cottage feel. So yeah, this is going to be our bedroom. We haven't decided on layout because something that's actually challenging here is there's loads of windows. So you've got one here as you come in, this one, there's these small little funny windows up in the roof. There's one that side, and then that side, and then another one here, another one of these kind of walk-in spaces that comes off of the front of the house, or it's actually the back. It's kind of a confusing orientation. But loads of light and just lovely views, but a little bit too much white UPVC for our liking. So we'll see if we can do something that's a little bit more in keeping with the traditional cottage look. Because of all of these windows, there's another one over here just behind me. It's kind of got a box in the way. And look where somebody had their TV mounted on the wall. Do people still do that? Because of all of these windows, it makes it a little bit challenging to kind of think of layout in terms of placing furniture, but we'll figure it out. And then if we keep going, then through here, there's another space. It's really I'm okay. That was just a very large spirit level that I kicked with my welly. I don't know if you'll be able to take it in fully in here, but there's a lot of, as you'll see as we go around, we've got a lot of like building materials and tools and things in here already. So it's quite a big space actually. There's another window, and then through here there's another doorway and another little piece. So we're thinking this might be a kind of ensuite and maybe even like a dressing room walk-in wardrobe type of thing, because it's quite a generous space. So to have something like that in an old cottage feels like definitely a luxury, because normally there's not a ton of space for things like that. So that's the one side of the downstairs. Oh, and wait until I take you upstairs, because there's a couple of things up there that will either make you, I don't know if they'll make you giggle or scratch your head in wonderment, maybe a mixture of the two, we'll see. So we're back through here in the main living space, and then if you come with me through here, I've got a pile of, this was actually left by the previous people. We've got another room off the back. Now this was an extension at some point, we don't know when, it's very dark, And so, and it's very pink, as you can see. Again, we've got an exposed stone wall in here. This isn't a very big space, so I think it probably, in our first round of renovation, we might do a sort of a second pass at it, because we might extend just to maximize the view and to have like a bigger kitchen space. But what we're thinking is the first kind of iteration here to kind of get us in and get it habitable is to have that main space that I brought you into as a kitchen diner. There's obviously our bedroom off the back there. And then this area will be just a small kind of snug TV room type of thing. And we can take this wall down here. So this is just a stud wall, it's not a supporting wall. Then there was a bathroom in there, and that's been ripped out, except for the cast iron, oh, I guess it's cast iron, old toilet, which we might actually restore and keep and put somewhere. So we're gonna knock that out, get rid of the pink, and just make this as snug. But the plan is actually subject to planning. We'd like to actually extend this whole piece and make the cottage more of like an L. So we're at one end of the cottage here, and have an L that comes out that way, because then we could have glass on that side, which would overlook our really lovely view. So when we do that, this would actually become the kitchen, and then that would become more of just a snug, cozy living space. Does that make sense? Are you with me? Are you sticking with me on this? So this room, as you can see, very pink, kind of dark, and then, like I said, through here is this other space that we're just going to knock the whole thing together. Now the sun's back out, I like it. If you don't like the weather, you just wait a minute and it changes. So that's the downstairs space. I'm really excited for it. I want to make it really cozy, lots of natural materials, wood, stone, that kind of thing, a really nice fire, maybe a range cooker. Ooh, don't know, we'll see. The bedroom as well, I think we'll put a fire in there too if we can, because I think that'll be so cozy, and so very excited for this. It is a big project. Literally everything needs doing. So even though it was started, because we don't know exactly what's been done and how it's been done, we'll probably have to rip out some of the stuff that's been started. I'll tell you why we're not really put off by the project in a minute, but right now there's no heating, so it is cold, but there is electricity. There's no bathroom and there's no kitchen, as you've seen, so this is why we're not living in it yet, and this is why we're living in the caravan. But let me know, do you think we've bitten off more than we can chew? Let me know in the comments. And let's head upstairs and I'll show you a couple of like odd features that you have up there. Well, one's a feature and one's just a strange thing. Okay, so let's head on up. Ooh. I just hit you on the way up. Sorry about that. Okay, now up here, it's very wood panelled and quite low, but I kind of don't mind it. It's got an almost alpine feel to it. I don't know if that was an intention of the previous owners. So we've come to the top of the stairs and we've got a room here, what would have been a bathroom, and then another room here, which I'm not going to show you because that's mostly also a bit of an odd thing in it. But you can see there's lots of wood paneling, even the ceiling is wood panelled, and it's a little bit dark, but there's also, again, these strange little tiny triangular windows everywhere. We haven't decided if we'll keep them. I think they've been a later addition. I don't think they are part of the local typical farmhouse look, and we don't want to be, you know, slaves to restoration either, but we do want to be doing things in a kind of sympathetic way, so we haven't made a decision on that front yet. So if you come in here, this room, we're actually thinking of upstairs, because there's just the three of us, because my husband and I will be downstairs. We're thinking of knocking a couple of the rooms together up here and making a bigger room for our daughter, because we don't need two separate bedrooms up here, and the bedrooms are actually quite small. This is a pretty straightforward room. Got another one of these little windows here. On this side, you've got another window, again with a peak, which I kind of like that detail that goes throughout. And then we've got the ceiling up into the eaves there, and there's also just a little, it's very dark, sorry about that. There's a little built-in kind of wardrobe here, but nothing particularly to note except this. Come down here with me and let me know if you think this is normal. So down here, you might notice that the carpet is buckling. I noticed this too. I just assumed that other viewers, people who were perhaps interested in buying this place, had peeled it back to see, you know, what's the floor like underneath. That's the sort of thing I might do. What are the floorboards doing under there? Are they in good condition? Could we sand them? But if we peel this back, let's have a look what's underneath. You ready? It's just some rubble under there. Just some rubble sitting under the carpet. Of course there is. Why wouldn't there be? Well, where do you put your rubble? Is it me, or is that just so odd? I don't know if it was the previous building contractors or somebody was trying to tidy up. Talk about sweeping things under the carpet. So that's kind of amusing. We've also got this strange kind of pipe and isolating tap thing in the corner. Not sure about that. But the other odd quirk in what was originally going to be my office, but isn't anymore, I'll show you in just a second. But if we step in here, so next door is the bathroom, or would have been because it's been ripped out. In some ways, we were kind of pleased by somewhere which has been largely gutted, because we would have gutted it most likely ourselves anyway. We're not afraid of a renovation. We like something that we can put our mark on, but at the same time, it would have been useful to have something at least semi-habitable. But I guess it forces the project on a little bit quicker. Oh, and I'll tell you in a second why we haven't actually started any work yet. Somebody said to me, why are you farting about doing the caravan and not the house? I'll tell you why. In here, so behind me, there's this area here which is a little bit confusing, because this looks like it would have had the bath here, and perhaps like shower, but there's also a door there, and we've just come in a door here. So I think originally it was probably 2 rooms, a separate bathroom and then the toilet separately. That's my guess. But why they didn't block up the door, why the door is still there, uncertain. So there's not really much of note in here. There's still a toilet, it's not plumbed in. And there's also the sink and another one of these lovely windows. And that's about it. This is where my husband would actually explain this better, but the plumbing is kind of confusing, and the waste doesn't make sense for the bathroom to be on this side of the cottage. So we won't be just reinstalling a bathroom here, we don't think, because the plumbing's actually not there and not there functioning in a way, and the waste is on the other side of the house. So we're a bit confused how that had been working previously. But so there's no real incentive just to pop the bathroom back in here, which is another one of the reasons why we might knock this whole space here and even lose a little bit of the corridor and make a bigger bedroom for our daughter, just because we don't need a kind of series of smaller rooms up here. So if you come down here, then I'll show you this, this strange thing in what was going to be my office, but we've rethought that, I think, now. So in here, behind me, is this? I don't know either. What it It's very strange. It's clearly the top of the chimney breast, but it just eats so much into the room, and it's quite a significant, and I don't know if you really take it in on camera, it's quite a significant and like imposing piece. And when I was thinking this was going to be my office, so my office back in our old home in the UK was a really small space and really had a couple of weird quirks to it that made it really difficult to think about how I wanted to lay out and how I wanted to design it. So I got Bex from Home Shape Style. She's a friend of mine as well now, since this project. I got her to do a design for me for my office and come up with the colour scheme and everything for me, and she did a beautiful job. And so when I got here, I was thinking, well, I don't know what Bex is going to do with this, because this is a bit of a conundrum, bit of a head scratcher. But also in here, we have the same feature of, just come down here and have a little look underneath the carpet. Oh, more rubble. Yay. So weird. So what we might do is move the bathroom into here. I literally don't know. I don't even know. I like coming up with the design and the aesthetics for the home. Like, that gets me excited. Love getting on Pinterest. And I can normally have a good vision for things, but my office back in the UK, that was one where I was like, I just don't know what to do with this. And I don't know what to do with this either. So yeah, I may well be contacting Bex again. This also has just built-in wardrobes. Whether or not they'll stay, not sure, but it's also got lovely, the ceiling in here is quite high, it's not too low, it's only in the corridor that the ceilings feel low. And that's it. So it's quite simple. I'd say it's spacious for 3 of us, but it's also modestly sized. I didn't want a big house. One of the houses that we tried to buy was a really large Georgian home, and I'm really glad we didn't get it, if I'm honest. It was much more my husband and my daughter's dream home. They got carried away with the romance of restoring an old Georgian property, but this is enough of a restoration project for me. And I don't want a big house. I'm quite a minimalist at heart, and I like a cozy space. I want to keep things simple. I don't want a big home to maintain and look after and fill with junk, which, because I live with a couple of hoarders, that's what they would do. So it feels just like a perfect size space for us, and so I'm so happy with it. So I'm excited to show you this because this is the before. So let's just pop back downstairs and I'll tell you why we haven't started the work yet, and also why I'm not daunted by this project really. Oh, I'm gonna need a cup of tea in a second. It's quite chilly in here. The reason why we haven't started any of the work yet is because we are applying for a grant. So there's a grant available for uninhabited and abandoned buildings and homes and bring them back into the housing stock. So we've been looking into that. So we can't really start any work until we know where we stand with that. So we're going to be turning our attention to outside, to actually getting the homestead going until we figure that grant situation out one way or the other. That's why I do have time to renovate the Argent, or the caravan that we're currently living in, because even with the outside stuff, because it's February right now as I'm recording this, it's quite cold, it's been very wet, there's not really a lot that we're going to be doing outside. My husband is getting prepared for an arrival of, okay, I'll give this away. I asked in a previous video, can you guess what's arriving? Our first proper homestead thing. This is an exciting part of my dream life. Like the whole homestead side. Yes, the cottage is exciting, but the whole being outside, living in connection with nature, makes me so excited. So we have our first livestock element arriving. Can you guess what we've gone for? What would feel like a good starter farm animal, do you think? Let me know in the comments. You'll see soon that it or they is arriving in a couple of weeks. So we need to be ready, because you can't just have livestock turn up and not be ready, right? So why am I not daunted by this project? Well, maybe partly because I'm slightly delusional and I see the vision and the dream and I kind of just let the details figure themselves out as we go. And partly because we've done this kind of thing before. We completely renovated our home in the UK. It was a 1930s property, everything needed redoing, and we've done that. And previous to that, we had a flat that we completely renovated. So this will be our third project, but also our last, we decided. This is my forever home. I'm not leaving this place. I already just feel so excited to be here, so grateful to be here, and you know, this is it for me now, and I just can't wait. But I'm excited for us to take our time with this project. This is not going to be some kind of quick HGTV style makeover. I really want to put the love and care and attention into bringing this back into being a cozy, warm, functioning family farmhouse. So to me, this is the dream life. Right now, the before, with the prospect of this huge project before us. This is it already here. Because not so long ago, I felt like it would never be possible. And it was just that to me, a dream. And now here I am, determined to soak up and savor every moment along the way. I'm determined not to wait for my dream life to start later, once the cottage is finished, or the homestead is set up, or whatever else gets added in along the way, because this is about more than a stone building or a plot of land. It's about a way of life for me, a change of pace, living in rhythm and harmony with nature. I hope you feel inspired to know that your dream life is possible too, my love. And so until next time, go live your dream life. Bye for now.